They announced the entire season 4 character pass. So I woke up and the first thing I saw was that it got leaked. And it was literally the first thing I saw was people on Discord posting about it. And I was like, oh, I was honestly really disappointed. I really wanted to see it in real time. It was kind of annoying to me that it got leaked early. And you know what it was? Okay. The video went up on the YouTube channel like the morning of. And it was up for so long that like I think a lot of people didn't even realize it was a leak. Not a leak. Not a leak, but like an accidental fuck up, you know? I guess you could call that a leak. It is a leaky ship. Like IGN was reporting on it. Usually if there's a leak like that, where of something that's like, okay, this is obviously going to be announced in a few hours, someone just fucked up. Usually outlets like that will be kind of cool about it and not make a tweet about announcing it and running articles about the new characters. But it was up for long enough that I think some people just didn't put 2 and 2 together and were just like, oh, I guess they just announced it early. And like, no, that was supposed to be showed off at like in the afternoon, not at 7 a.m. So it got reprivated, but it was already all over Twitter and stuff, and a little bit disappointing. But hey, the actual trailer came out, so you can talk about it and all that. You know what it was? You know what I'm sure it was? I made a little tongue-in-cheek tweet about like, hey, Arxis, if you need someone to manage your YouTube channel, I'll do it. Since apparently you guys don't know how to like, publish a video as unlisted or private, And you know what I think it was? I think someone fucked up on the scheduling. On scheduling the upload. There is... what I think happened is that someone in Japan is in charge of like the PR for the YouTube channels. Like they're in charge of putting stuff up on the channels. And they probably uploaded that trailer in advance. And then because here's the thing, it only got leaked on the English Arxis channel. They always do whenever they put out a trailer, they always put them out simultaneously, an English version and a Japanese version on those respective channels. The Japanese version came out at the right time. The English version came out early. And you know what I think it was? I think that whoever was uploading them, when they went to go schedule the time, I think they fucked up on the time zone. I think they screwed up in the time zone, and they put down on my YouTube channel. I don't know. I'm curious about how that works. If like, I don't know the way that YouTube channels work, you can have multiple channels under a single like email account, a single Google account. I'm not sure if they have that or if they have them under separate accounts. It could be either, depending on how they did it, or how old the channel is, because that wasn't always possible. You had to make different email accounts, which was a pain in the ass. So all of mine, for instance, are under my single like business email, that account. And then I have like a private YouTube, just a personal one that I've had forever. That's under like my personal email address. And I'm wondering if they were under separate like Google accounts, and the Google accounts are like considered to be in different regions. Like the English one is in America or something. Is it in like an American time zone? I wonder. I'd be curious, because mine are obviously all in like whatever American time zone I'm in. And so I do think that it was someone screwed up and they put the time that made sense to them in Japan. And then it just happened to be, oops, there was like a 6-hour difference, right? Or like a 7-hour difference that they screwed up on. They didn't do the math right, or it wasn't, or they just they flubbed it. So, anyway, this is not the first time this has happened, by the way. Way back when they were first revealing the original roster of the game, Ino was the last character to be revealed. And they did an event. They did like a whole live stream event. It was like that Japanese game dev roundtable that they haven't done in a bit. But they were going to show off the Ino trailer, and it got leaked early. The character got leaked early, not the trailer, because of like some freaking GameSpot article that went up like 4 hours too early or something. Like, come on, like, guys, I feel bad for ArcSys. Like, it's always like shit like this. Elfelt got leaked because Harada, again, I think this was a time zone thing. Harada fucking, I think he had a tweet scheduled and he messed up the time zones, and he was like the morning that it was supposed to be revealed, he goes like, Elfelt coming to Guilty Gear Strive, with like a link to the website with all the pictures and everything, and like it was a page on the website that wasn't supposed to be public, but if you had the link you could see it. Oh my god, this keeps happening to them. I feel bad. Anyway, trailer. So 4 characters, and it's an interesting selection. I predicted, so I didn't know that they were going to do this. I thought they were just going to show off one character, because that's been their MO. But they are falling in line with Capcom's strategy of just show off all the characters in the first trailer for the season, like they did with the Season 2 trailer for SF6. And you know what? I really appreciate that. I actually like it a lot more. I had a whole discussion about it, about like, you know, is it really fair to try to sell people a season pass with content that they don't know is going to be in it? And there is there's arguments to be made with like, okay, well, if you don't know if the pass is worth it because you don't know what's in it yet, then like you shouldn't buy it. But also, on the other end of that, you could maybe consider it a little bit unethical to sell people on something that you have not fully like revealed what's even going to be included in it, right? From the publisher's side. And I prefer just the idea that the trailer comes out for the season and you get an idea of at least who most of the characters are. I actually thought it was kind of fun when Street Fighter V did it in their 5th season, that they showed off the first 4 characters, but the 5th one was a secret. And that was kind of fun, right? I don't mind that. That's more than enough content to be like, okay, I don't think the final character is gonna... Maybe they can. Maybe they will completely sway you, but, you know. I think that's like acceptable. I think that's acceptable, and it's a little bit of like a fun thread to follow along with. And revealing all the characters does not diminish the conversation about the season, because now the discussion becomes, what are they going to look like? What are they going to play like? You know? And that is equally, I think, interesting for people who are following the game, because season passes are for people who are actively like playing the game and following along. They are not like necessarily like big marketing. Sometimes they will be like, hey, here's a character, here's a fan favorite character to get you back in. But for the most part, you can do that while still just revealing all of them. It accomplishes the same thing. And it kind of takes some of the pressure off, you know? It takes a little bit of the pressure off. Because imagine if Season 3 or something. Imagine if like... I'm trying to think of an example. So imagine you like announce your whole DLC roster. Let's say season 2 of Strive, which a lot of people were like a little bit iffy on. I think it made a lot of sense for what they did, but like it takes pressure off of a character like Bedman, because Bedman is a lot more niche, right? He was sort of like middling in popularity during Exerd, you know. He's not a character a lot of people were going to get super hype for. So when the reveal is Bedman, there's going to be more people who are just like, okay, all right. But if you say, Johnny, Elfelt, Asuka, whoa, all these highly anticipated fan favorite characters or people who like the fucking main villain of the series who's never been playable before. Whoa. And then Bedman's in there. You know? Bedman's also in there too. That takes the pressure off of that. I think it's just better for the level of conversation around the game, you know? And the people who were going to be excited and who are going to be theorizing about who the next character is, those people are the same ones who are just going to, okay, now they're just going to be talking about, well, what do you think they're going to play like? What's the moveset going to be, you know? Are they going to keep this? Are they going to change that? How are they going to use this mechanic? And all that. It's just going to be big nerds for the game. So I like that. And now I can finally actually talk about the selection of characters. So, good? Mostly? This was very weird. Okay, we'll go through them in order. So the first one is Dizzy. Dizzy makes a lot of sense, all right? Dizzy is a fan favorite character. They kind of like to open these seasons with popular very, very liked characters, right? Dizzy is sort of like, there's like a waifu factor, of course, but she's also just sort of popular. She's important in the story. People just like having Dizzy in the game because she's just sort of like one of the best characters visually. Like Dizzy's whole thing is that she has these two wings and the wings like morph into like little people. That's weird to describe it. There's essentially literally like she has an angel and a devil on her shoulders. And there's like the angel Undine or Undine. I don't know how that's supposed to be pronounced. And then like the Grim Reaper evil guy named Necro. And they sort of have like a push and pull. And Dizzy herself is this sort of like pacifist, like not a real fighter, sort of innocent kind of person. That are like pulling her along. Like it's a great concept for a character, and visually Dizzy's animations have always been really fun because of the ways that her like wings transform and stuff like that. I've always loved her dust animation where Necro taps her shoulder. He taps like her other shoulder and she looks over, and then when she's not looking, he delivers this huge uppercut that launches them. Like, that's a really fun animation. She's chock full of stuff like that. Just a visually great character to watch, and I'm really excited to see just how she's animated in Strive. Also, I love her new design. I was never, like, super hot on her original look. It just felt a little bit random. I don't know. It never felt like it fit her very well. Like, she's always just kind of like, Dizzy's always reminded me of like a Disney princess, you know, like a Snow White, like singing to the animals and stuff, and the chipmunks, and she loves nature. And it was kind of weird that she was always in this like odd like leather bathing suit thing that just didn't really, she never felt like a very sexual character, but her design had a lot of like sexual appeal in it. You know, it was fine. But I actually always kind of liked her other outfits where like, you know, in the older games, she was in like this, what was it? It's in her intro before she like transforms into her main like battle outfit. She's just in like a little, she's got like a little bandana on her head. And she's wearing like a little very casual outfit, and she's got like a basket of fruit or something. That always like struck me as being something that makes more sense. Like, this feels like what Dizzy would put on in the morning. Her new design, oh my god, she looks so cool. I think she looks so cool. Mind you, it's just concept art, and we haven't seen the full thing. But she looks like she stepped off of like a Japanese woodblock painting of a goddess, right? With like the kimono and just like the light around her and the way her clothes are flowing. She's also supposed to be a queen now. She's Queen Dizzy. So I think what happens, I think the idea is that at the end of Strive's second story mode, Kai renounces the crown, and I think he just renounces it to, I think the idea is that he's just renouncing it and giving it to Dizzy, which is like cool. So she's like, so to put this in So he's Biden and she's Kamala Harris. Dude, you know what's so fucked up? You know what's so fucked up? When Biden stepped down from when he announced that he wasn't going to be running, people were joking about, like, explain this in fighting game terms. And the same day, we literally got a character who allows you to explain it in fighting game terms. Biden is Kai Kisk, and Kamala Harris is Dizzy. And Biden is stepping down and giving it to the daughter of the devil. I'm going to refrain. I could go harder with shitting on Kamala Harris, but I don't want to talk about politics right now. I want to talk about Guilty Gear, which has never been political ever. So I think that's the idea, is that she's like the new queen or whatever, which is cool. I also dig so specifically with the goddess thing. Like, Guilty Gear's always had like the heaven or hell thing. Dizzy herself is like the daughter of Guilty Gear's version of the devil, Justice. And also you have like Chaos and Jacko, who have like the Halo motifs. So this has always kind of been, this is always this sort of motif that's been throughout the series. And it's sort of neat that her new design kind of evokes some of that divine sort of imagery. I think it looks really cool. She is the first character who's going to be releasing, and dude, that artwork of her is great. That artwork of like the painting of her is so cool looking. It's totally like Daisuke art too. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's totally Daisuke art. Wow, that is gorgeous. And one of the ways you can tell it's Daisuke art is that her eyes are fucking weird. Like, they're a little like cross-eyed outwards. That's very funny. Like, he'll just sometimes draw characters looking kind of wonky like that, and I love it. Yeah, that looks great. I can't wait to see her. Her hair's like in a new style, super dope looking. Second character, Venom, another very popular fan favorite character. Apparently, Venom was one of the characters that Daisuke, like, it pained him not to include Venom in the base roster. He gave an interview where he specifically cited Venom as being a character who was very difficult to say no to. It looks like from the concept art that they showed off that Venom is finally going to be keeping his vest. He's always had a vest on, and then he takes it off to show off just his chest and abs. And I guess now that Zato is officially taken and officially straight, Venom is like covering up, and he's admitted defeat. He's putting the vest back on. No more man-whore hours. But that's cool. I've always loved the vest, and I thought it was a shame that he always rips it off because I thought it was such a cool look. Venom is a super cool character. If you don't know his deal, he fights with a pool cue, and he summons pool balls in the air, and then you can strike. He can summon multiple pool balls, and then the order that he has like different patterns that he can set them in depending on like which buttons he presses to summon them. And then he can hit them. Any attack that uses the pool cue will strike the balls, and it's like a dynamic physics object, and the balls will get like knocked around and bounce off the edges of the screen and stuff. And he's a really cool character. He's super unique. He sort of is able to oscillate between, he can play keep away and just zone out with his projectiles, and especially if you play a character like Slayer, create a very difficult like wall of pressure to kind of get around. But he can also play really powerful rushdown, and he's got these really strong tools for putting the opponent in the corner and then just making them block and block and block and block. He can do these, he's sort of infamous for these really fast, pretty much instant overheads that he can do. He has this air special called Mad Struggle, where he just like jabs downward with his pool cue really fast. And you can do that really low to the ground in the older games. I don't know if they'll keep that part of it. But he's like, yeah, he's a really cool character. Kind of a pain in the ass to fight against for sure, but he's just really neat. He's just always had great, visually such a dope looking character, really stylish, has a very technical side to him, and that's cool. Third, Uniqua from the Backyardigans. Now, Uniqua, who is in the Guilty Gear Strive anime that they announced a little bit ago. Dual Rulers. So she is some... I guess she's getting... Which one is going to... When is she coming out? It says spring 2025. She might release like concurrently with the anime, which would be neat. She is girl. She is a girl who apparently hates gears. So my sort of pet theory for this is that over time Daisuke has been sort of slowly working towards a passing of the torch for the Guilty Gear series. And he's been doing it pretty slowly. And now that I actually put it together, I can kind of see how long it's been. And I think what he's doing is he's sort of trying to introduce the new main sort of cast of Guilty Gear, or like the core protagonist characters, are like going to be Sin, and I think like Sin, Ramlethal, and this new Unica girl. And they kind of spent like a couple games building up Sin and Ram. Ram's been in 2 games, Sin's been in 3. And kind of ingratiating them with the fan base, giving them actual character arcs on the side to sort of justify their existence and stuff, not just like toss you, hey, here's the new protagonist. And now, because by the end of Strive, Soul is no longer a gear. He's no longer a guilty gear. He's no longer guilty, and he's no longer a gear. He made everything right. So he doesn't have his powers anymore, as far as I understand, and is moving into more of like a mentor, like retirement role. And Sin has kind of been set up as like the new protagonist. So I believe here's my prediction. Here's my Guilty Gear lore prediction, because I know everybody likes it when I talk about Guilty Gear lore. The trailer for the anime kind of basically stated that this Unica girl, her main motivation is that she fucking hates gears. So she's a little bit like Biken. I almost said Bison. M. Biken. Chew on that for a little bit. M. Biken. So, naturally, the king of a major nation announcing that his wife is a gear and he is part gear because of her now, because of some shit that they have not explained. And also his son is half gear. And now he is stepping down and renouncing the throne to a gear who, again, is the daughter of the devil who destroyed Japan. Japan is a crater in the ocean. That inspires her to a little bit of political extremism. I'm assuming that this is essentially like that is the conflict point, which will naturally draw Sin into the story. Like she's targeting gears around the world. She's going after Dizzy. Sin obviously has to protect his mama. Soul gets involved because, of course, this is like a family matter now. And that is... The anime is going to... I don't know. I have no idea where she's going to go in the anime. But I believe they're sort of setting up this thing where Sin is like the new Kai, being his son, you know? And Unica is like the new Soul because she has jacket and headband sort of thing. She's got like a mask on her forehead and belts. And she hates gears. And Soul's character started off as the reason his name is Soul Bad Guy is because after he was turned into a gear, he went around destroying gear production facilities, and the government labeled him Bad Guy. So he was like trying to destroy gears and shit. So I think that that's sort of like an echo of those two characters, but in like the modern Guilty Gear context, right? Of like, you know, it's not like a literal retread, but there are shades of those characters in the new ones. Will Unica be cool? I don't know. That's for the anime to sell me on. But that's kind of where looks like where it's going for me. And to be honest, I'm actually okay with that. I think that as a passing of the torch, this might actually end up, if the next game comes out and Sin is the protagonist, Soul and Kai are gonna be there, right? Just for gameplay purposes, they sort of have to be there in some way. But if he is the protagonist and Unica is like his rival, and they have some kind of rivalry going on, and yada yada, and whatever, because Happy Chaos isn't dead fully. He like exists in some weird way. I think I'd be okay with it. Sort of depends on how Unica pans out as a character. I have no opinion on her as of yet. I think her design is fine. She looks like a Guilty Gear character. But I would be fine with the general idea of the torch passing. Also might be one of the subtlest and slowest moving torch passings I have seen in anything. It's not like Street Fighter where they go, oh, here's the new guy, here's the protagonist. Oh, fuck, it didn't work. Here's the new guy, he's the protagonist. Oh, fuck, it didn't work. Here's the new guy, he's the protagonist. Oh, fuck, it didn't work. They're doing with Sin what Capcom should have done with Sean. You know what I mean? Right? Introduce this character, have him be a supporting cast member, make him important to the plot, you know, give him relationships to the other characters, put him through an actual character arc and establish his relationships with other people on the cast, ingratiate him with the audience, and then slowly you're like, well, the original main character is sort of retiring. He's at the end of his story. And he's going to kind of step aside for the moment to be more of a mentor. And now the new guy's in, and it's a smooth transition, you know? So I don't mind the idea of this. They're obviously trying to push Unica, I think, as this sort of new character, important character. Hopefully that pans out. And now finally... the weirdest thing of all, like, it literally looks like a meme. It doesn't look real. The final Guilty Gear character, of Season 4, Lucy from Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Why am I hiccuping all of a sudden? So, this is weird. If you haven't been keeping up, Guilty Gear has never done guest characters. They have never done them before. One, because I don't think they were a big enough franchise to warrant to make anyone, like, mind you, so when a guest shows up in a game, it's generally because it's mutually beneficial for both parties involved. A guest character in a game like Guilty Gear Xrd, whose original version, Xrd Sign, sold 90,000 copies, doesn't make any sense. For Strive? Yeah, actually. There's an audience of people to promote your thing to with Strive. From a business perspective, makes more sense. The other hurdle is that Guilty Gear is just a hyper-stylized series. It is very tough to take a character from anything else and make them look natural in Guilty Gear's world. The fashion, the aesthetic, the colors, the environments and the architecture is so unique and one of a kind that you can't just toss someone in. You could maybe do something like take an existing character and like Guilty Gearify them and make them fit into that world. But just taking and transferring them 1-to-1 is, it would look very weird. Series like, KOF, Street Fighter, Tekken, those can fit a lot of characters because their worlds are a lot more just, it's like contemporary martial arts action settings, You can take, that's why King of Fighters worked so well as a crossover to kind of, dude, I always forget. It's not condense. What the hell is that word? Not condense. It's not collate. I always forget this word. Dude, I'm going to look this up. Maybe like a synonym for collate. It's like to combine things. You're going to come along with me on this. It's a C word, isn't it? Not condense. Shit. I'm going to pause the podcast right now. Consolidate. It was consolidate. Consolidate. It's easy to consolidate series like Art of Fighting and Fatal Fury and sort of into the same world, right? It's, Akuma is a little wacky for Tekken, but they put in he's not so crazy, There's been demons in the series before. And actually, no, there've been other monster people. He's not even that weird for Tekken. And they also put in the work to actually make him a part of the world. So he feels very natural. There's a lot of people who think of Akuma as being like a Tekken character. And you know what? He kind of is. He is a part of that world and that story. So what was I saying? Right. So consolidate. That is the word that I said. Why did I think that wasn't the word that I said? It appeared to me for some reason. I'm stupid. So it's hard to find a character that really fits in there. Lucy is a weird one. There aren't a lot that would make sense. The only one that really made sense is someone from like Blaze Blue, You could conceivably do Ragna, Ragna from Blaze Blue. Lucy is weird for a couple reasons. Number one, she's from an anime that's like 2 years old. And mind you, Cyberpunk Edgerunners was very well received. People liked that show a lot, okay? I get it. I never watched it. I have no attachment to the character. This deal must have been finalized a while back, right? Maybe it made more sense a year ago. It's just weird to go, oh, really? This is Guilty Gear's version of when Negan showed up in Tekken. That's a weird crossover. Because, I don't know. If you didn't know that it was Negan from Tekken, maybe he wouldn't be that strange, because he is just like a guy with a baseball bat. But I don't know, man, something about it is just funny. Something about it's just really funny. The crossover is strange. If I didn't know who Lucy was, I could maybe see her fitting into the Guilty Gear world visually. It helps that she is from a series whose visual style lends very easily to the cel-shaded anime look of Guilty Gear. So that makes it a little less dissonant. I don't know if they didn't show off any concept art. It was just like an official render of Lucy. Or it might have been like a new piece of art. I'm not sure. But it was like clearly like in the anime's style. I don't know if they are going to be making modifications to her design to make her fit a little better. Are they going to give her 20 belts? Who knows? But it is weird. It is a weird pick. Am I upset about it? Not necessarily. I don't have the right to be upset because my character got in the game. Slayer is in the game. I am satisfied. I am happy. I don't have to whine about anything anymore, right? I have my character. I've got my guy. So anything else that shows up is just, okay, well, are other people excited for this? And Some people were. Not a lot of people. Not a lot of people were excited. There were other Guilty Gear characters that people wanted to see. The biggest one was Jam, obviously. Would I have preferred Jam over a fucking Cyberpunk character? Yeah, I think I would have. Even if it would mean that I have to listen to Jam voice lines, I probably would. I think I would prefer just another Guilty Gear character coming back, because Guilty Gear has such a strong roster. As it stands, it's probably the weirdest part of an otherwise pretty good-looking season of content. Season of characters. She looks very out of place. It's strange. I guess as we get closer to her release, we will see what happens. We'll see what she looks like, how she plays like. Hey, maybe she'll be cool. I don't know. I mean, at this point, I would have preferred another original character, you know? I can see... So here's the thing. Now that this is season 4 of Strive. Strive has made them a lot of money. It's their best-selling, in-house developed, self-published game. I can see maybe one more season of DLC, which you would have to go... Those characters like Jam, Robokai would have to make it in there, right? I don't know about Robokai. I would like Robokai. There's not too many other people. If you're going to do 4 more characters, I genuinely wouldn't mind like Jam, Robokai, two newcomers, right? Maybe make one of them a guest character. I don't know. Make them fucking make it Akuma. Yeah, put Akuma in Guilty Gear. He would probably be really cool in Guilty Gear. I'm not gonna lie. Just a character like, or I don't know, fucking Haehyun, Answer, Raven. There's lots of characters who could come back, right? That I'm forgetting about, right? You could do like Jam, Haehyun, Raven, or Robokai, one of those. I think that would be cool. I wouldn't mind that at all. I only really see it going to like 5 seasons, though. It just seems like, in terms of support, that's how long these games typically get supported, right? And the thing is, when you look at the stuff that ArcSys has out now, right? And they don't really have anything on the horizon in terms of new projects. They've got Strive, and Strive's entering its 4th season of support. They have Grand Blue, which has been like definitely reinvigorated by the Rising update, which they're sort of treating as a sequel. Kind of like a second wind for the games. I can imagine them doing a couple more years of support, like maybe 4, 5 seasons. Who knows? That game's going to be massive by the time they're done with it. I could see them doing at least one more season after the second one. Because I think it's actually starting to get a little bit of a revival in popularity, which is cool. Cool for them. What does, like, Dragon Ball FighterZ is done? Strive is in its latter half of life. Grand Blue is trucking along, but it's not a new thing. It's a revision for a game that came out fucking before the pandemic. Came out in like 2019. ArcSys doesn't have anything that they've announced that's coming up on the horizon, and things are starting, they're getting a little long in the tooth. And so you have to wonder, how long are they gonna, what's their next thing? How long do we have until the next ArcSys announcement? I imagine that before anything else happens with Guilty Gear, any other game or anything like that, they're probably going to do whatever the last season of DLC is. If it's season 4, season 5, they're going to let that sit for at least 2 years, probably with some balance patches. And then they're going to like announce that something is in the works, if anything happens at all, like the next project for Team Red. I imagine that they probably want to keep Guilty Gear going because Strive was so reinvigorating for the franchise, and it would be a little weird to suddenly abandon it and not make another Guilty Gear game for like 2 or 3 projects. Like, just something, just make another something. If it's a mobile game, if it's a something else, who knows? If it's another Overture, just something with the property to capitalize on the fact that they have a ton of fans. And clearly there are a lot of people who I just got distracted by something. Clearly there are a lot of people who would be interested in that was what I was going to say. Clearly, Daisuke is interested in continuing the story and keeping the characters going. And, right, I talked about the passing of the torch stuff. Like, there's a future ahead for the story and all that. So Guilty Gear is probably locked in for they're going to do something with it. But in terms of their other stuff, I mean, I'd like to see something done with BlazBlue. Apparently there's some mobile game that is in development that got announced by, I believe, some Chinese developer, like earlier today. Again, like I wouldn't mind seeing like a BlazBlue versus Guilty Gear or something like that, some kind of crossover thing. Just like something, right? Probably near the tail end of Strive's support, we will likely see some sort of announcement for something that is not Guilty Gear related, right? Something that is not Guilty Gear related because they don't want to, I don't know what I'm doing clapping my hand like that. They don't want to step on the current game that they're still like seeing out. So they'll probably pass it off. I can see like, maybe next year, like late next year, we'll get some kind of news on the next project they've got going on. A new licensed game, who knows? People want like a One Piece game or a Dragon Ball FighterZ 2. That's up to Bandai Namco though. I would love a Bleach game. A lot of people want them to do some kind of shonen thing. People want them to make a JoJo game. Those are the ones that would make me go gaga. But that's that's my prediction. I think that around like late 2025, we'll probably see something, maybe early 26. We'll see some sort of news, some sort of announcement for the next actual ArcSys project. It'll be non-Guilty Gear, and then like 2 or 3 years later, we'll get an announcement about a new Guilty Gear thing. Who knows?